Hey, this is a news story that I came across, and I wanted to make you aware of this. This is something that is happening in a lot of states. This happened in the state of Idaho, and it was dealing with car dealers who did not have the titles from vehicles that they had purchased, either at auction or from other places. I don't know what, but I wanted you to look at this because you need to be aware and be careful when you're buying a vehicle, especially from the small dealerships. You'll see that these people ran into a huge problem. I'm going to play it and I'm going to also comment on them also.
An Idaho man says he's the latest victim after a Boise car dealership took thousands of dollars from him and his bank. Court records allege Bird Dog Motors sold cars to more than 30 people without providing titles to those cars. It's left customers and their banks demanding a refund. But as Andrew Bartline shows us, getting the money back may be a bit more complicated.
So basically, what's happened is this car dealer, he was purchasing the cars, and it looks like he had purchased at least the one that they talked about in this report. Maybe he did it in other places. It was from another bank, which I thought was odd, but I guess this is uh, maybe this is what happened is that he was financing his purchases at the auction through a bank. The bank had the title as security until he sold a car. Once he sold a car, then he would pay the bank their portion for the car and had his profit, and and then the titles would be transferred. But you'll see that it just didn't work out that way.
It's hard to understand why asking the right questions doesn't always lead to good answers.
The subscriber you have dialed is not in service.
Yeah, it's a mess.
This is Hunter Allen.
Everybody's pointing fingers, no solutions.
He wants solutions regarding this car specifically, a 2016 Infiniti Q50.
Nice car, all-wheel drive. It was going to be perfect for the winter time.
Perfect enough for Hunter to purchase in June of 2022. He took out a $20,000 loan from Idaho Central Credit Union. He took it home that day, but it didn't last long.
So just to pause the video here, he actually purchased the vehicle from the dealer, took it home, had the car, had a new loan with a new bank. One of the issues that I find with this, in as a matter of fact, I ran into this before, and it took a lot of work for me to be able to get the title. It was on a Range Rover that I had purchased back in the I think it was like 2005, somewhere around that time. And this is an issue that has been around that dealers have been. Uh, some of it is just from slow paperwork, but we're finding that some of it is done by them not being able to pay the loans off to the auction or to whoever they had financing their vehicles, and it was making a big issue. But he actually took the car home. He actually had a new loan from another, I think it was a credit union or a bank that he financed it through. And what I find surprising is that they actually let the dealer make this loan without having a title in their hands, because you notice if you've ever financed a vehicle, first thing that the insurance company wants to know and the lending institution is that there has to be a title in hand. But these dealers are using sneaky tactics to kind of say, hey, the title is on the way, but we want to hurt the vehicle so the deal will continue to go through.
I mean, I've been without a vehicle for 6 months and paying for one.
Bird Dog Motors sold him the car, but Hunter says they never gave him or ICCU the title. Normally, Bird Dog should have signed the title over to ICCU during or shortly after the sale.
My bank came looking about a month later for, where's the title at?
That's because another bank owns the title, Farm Bureau Financial Services. They hold an outstanding lien on the car and repossessed it in September, leaving Hunter with a legal obligation to pay off a car loan for a car he doesn't have.
So, did you see that the original or the lien holder that has the title holding bank actually came and repossessed the car. So this young man purchased a vehicle, had a loan with the vehicle, expecting everything to be going the right way. I'm pretty sure he put a down payment on the vehicle, and now the other bank that has the title in hand came and repossessed the vehicle. And you're going to see that there's absolutely nothing that could have been done. But I am going to give you some things that you could potentially look at for some solutions after we finish the video.
I spend all this money on the interest and the $20,000 and I don't get a title. ICCU doesn't have a title for me. Like, I don't get a car.
Court documents show Bird Dog's insurance company is suing the dealership. The lawsuit names 34 people who may be in the same position as Hunter, and the insurance company doesn't want to pay any of them. The insurance bond is worth $20,000. Hunter's share of the payout would only be a few $100.
It's not worth the legal fees to try to fight it because there's such a small amount.
Shane Bangachea is Hunter's attorney.
And one reason I took the case is I realized it wasn't a mess that he had gotten himself into. It was somebody else's mess that he ended up getting into.
Bangachea tried to work with Hunter's bank, ICCU, and the title owner, Farm Bureau. He says the easiest solution is if one of the banks waives their lien and voluntarily forfeits the car. But that's been a tough sell.
Farm Bureau has the title. They're like, well, too bad, so sad for you. I mean, we've got the title to the car.
A 2004 Kootenai County District Court case shows a similar situation. It ruled the original lien holder must forfeit the title, but district courts...
So just so you can see what had happened in a previous ruling, they said that even if the car was sold and another bank financed it, that they were saying that transaction was going to be the one that would be the one that transaction was going to be legal, and that they were going to have to forfeit the lien that they had from the previous bank, which is very confusing because it's like, hey, we possess the lien. In this situation, they said that they're not going to do that. That the original lien holder and the title possessor has all the rights to the vehicles, and that they were not going to force them to forgive the debt on with the original. In my eyes, I think that number one, the insurances and maybe the attorney that's working on this looked at the insurance for the bank for them not doing their due diligence, and this is something that not to say that this happened with this situation, but I could tell you that it happened with the client in our area, is that the attorneys did not want to go up against a dealership that was doing a lot of business with different attorneys in our area. And with banks, the same thing. This attorney could go to the bank, and we're going to watch the rest of this. Maybe he did mention it and I missed it. He should go to the bank that gave the young man the loan, and he should challenge that they did not follow their own protocol when making a loan. Think about it this way: if the young man didn't follow the protocol making a loan while he was getting a loan, they would say that too bad, you signed the documents, you have to just stick with what you already had in place.
Hold no legal precedent in any other district, so there's no way to know for sure if Hunter's case would be successful.
So the only way he can resolve this is through litigation, and the thing is, by the time he goes through litigation, he's spend more than the car.
Because it's already switched hands, it's been repossessed. Like, I don't want anything to do with the car. Yeah, the loan needs to go.
Court documents show the state of Idaho filed a lawsuit against Bird Dog's owner, Adam Bain, in March of 2022 for a vehicle dealer lien satisfaction violation. Bain failed to appear at his most recent court date in September. 2 days later, public records show the judge ordered a warrant for his arrest. Right here on the corner of Curtis and Overland.
Before continue, did you hear that? The judge issued a warrant for his arrest. So what this basically means is they're not going to be out there looking for him to arrest him. Uh, all judges have this option when it goes to judgments that are placed against individuals. Some people don't know this. Uh, some people find it hard to believe, but in some states, debt collectors have been known to utilize this option and request that there's a warrant for someone's arrest who doesn't come in to attest for the debt. But basically, this warrant is if he gets a ticket or somewhere and comes in contact with police and they ask for his ID and he gives it to them and they run a check, they're going to bring him into court. He better hope that this doesn't happen over the weekend because he would have to wait until Monday to have the hearing. But basically, what they're going to do is they're going to want him to come to court to attest to what he's going to do about this debt that's been placed on him through this lawsuit.
Motors was originally located. It's a new business now. It's called On the Spot Auto Detail. This new business has no relation to Adam Bain, but the new owner tells us people are coming in here. They're upset and they're looking for Adam Bain. But Bangachea tells us finding Adam Bain doesn't solve Hunter's problem either.
He's not going to be able to pay it back unless he wins the lottery or something. I don't know how he's going to pay it back. And that's why I tell people, if you're going for somebody, you need to think about if they take out bankruptcy, if they don't have any assets, because you may get a judgment that's worth nothing.
I will say that there are multiple complaints filed against this dealer.
The Idaho Transportation Department stripped Bird Dog Motors of their dealership license in July.
About vehicles that, they couldn't get the titles for.
ITD says to protect yourself, people should check the status of the car title they're interested in buying. You can run the VIN on ITD's website to see if there's an outstanding lien. In the case of this Infiniti, ITD's website clearly shows the car is owned by a bank, despite the sale application from Bird Dog saying otherwise. That's gotten the attention of the Better Business Bureau.
Let's talk about some of the solutions and what can, just off the top of my head from what I went through when I had made a purchase, and the dealer was a smaller dealer, but he had very nice vehicles. The first thing that I did is I started a complaint to have his dealer license revoked. And once you make that complaint with your state, because you got to be very proactive. Not to say that it would have been the outcome with this one, but the first thing that you do is, especially if it hasn't, reached the boiling point, is that you want to, approach the state regulators with the complaint about your specific vehicle. And when we did that, he hurried up and took care of getting our title switched over into our names because he didn't want to lose the opportunity to be able to continue to be a dealership. Now, the other thing that you could do, which I had kind of talked about here, you can file your complaints with the Better Business Bureau. They're just going to list it. They're going to contact that individual. We already see that he didn't care about what he was doing, so I don't know how much good that's going to do. And at least it can, other people can see what's going on with that. You can obviously do what they stated, where you want to get, I would say, get a Carfax to know exactly who has a lien on there, and also to make sure that there's no other issues with the vehicle, because I know that might cost some money, but look at what it ended up costing him, $20,000 plus his down payment. You want to know everything about a vehicle and make sure that this individual isn't doing something else wrong with vehicles. And if you see that there is a lien on it, you would want to make sure that the funds are going to be transferred to get that lien removed and moved over to the new lien holder if you're getting the loan, or if you're like in my situation where you're just buying the vehicle, you just want to make sure that that money is transferred to get that lien removed because you're actually paying off the vehicle. And the other thing is that, which I believe this should be an option for the attorney to submit a claim, a demand letter to the bank that actually initiated the loan, because it is a violation. And it could be where they could say, well, hey, we expected it in a few days or whatever. There's always some documentation that is done during the process, because banks are not idiots. They're going to want to make sure that they're going to get the title. They're going to want to make sure that they don't find themselves in the situation that you see happening right here. Usually, and this is my own opinion. Usually, what happens is that the finance, the person that approves the loans with the banks or the finance company, they have a very good relationship with the dealer, because the dealer is bringing them business, and that they ended up, you know, kind of getting sloppy with the paperwork, and that's what makes problems like this come about. So the next thing is to submit some sort of demand to them to first get the records that they had when the loan was initiated. What did they get from the dealer? There's probably some paperwork that they received from the dealer that you don't know about, or that the people didn't know about, to see if it said that a title, maybe there was a title document in there that was filled out and everything, that was going over to them, and that they didn't do their checks, because I think none of this, uh, no one knew about anything until they came and took the vehicle. Like, he was paying payments to the other bank, and no one knew that anything was wrong until the title holder, which had a lien, also came and took the vehicle. So, what paperwork does the bank have that allowed them to believe that the vehicle was 100% clear and that they would have the title? Because utilizing that paperwork, utilizing the mistakes that were made with that paperwork, would actually get, I believe, would get this debt placed into a 1099-C, debt forgiveness, and or just waived, like they stated it, that the debt was just waived, that no, he was not going to have to pay the debt from the new one. Now, I don't know about the down payment. Maybe he can even get that back, because it's not a clear and a full transaction. Like, you know, the lawyer could easily get that paperwork and see that this is not a full consummated transaction, because the title was not clear. Who at the bank makes sure the titles are clear? What is the paperwork that was signed saying that the title was cleared? Uh, you know, who processed it at the bank? Did they do their due diligence? Like, there's a lot of stuff that the bank who took the loan, which is really who the young man is really up against. He has no contract or anything with the title holding bank, so it's really with getting this loan, uh, uh, you know, dealt with and taken away, that he's facing. Make sure his credit's not ruined. Make sure that he doesn't have $20,000 debt hanging over his head, which, or vehicle that he doesn't have. So, but attorneys don't like doing that, because these, you know, credit unions and these banks that are local, they do a lot of business, and they do them with big firms. And the big firms, what they do is they go to the smaller firms to do some of the busy work for them. So, but that would be the option that I would look at doing. And if you find yourself in this situation, I believe that that would be a good decision that you can make. So let's continue with the video here.
We have a notice up there that, hey, be aware if you are trying to do business here.
Dale Dixon is the BBB's Chief Innovation Officer.
Please do your research. Know the business. Start at bbb.org and look at the business profile. See what this business is doing with other customers. You can read customer reviews. We do an in-depth vetting of every business on that website to make sure that it's appropriately licensed, that it's giving customers a good experience.
Bangachea says that was ICCU's responsibility.
I didn't know all the things about buying a loan, and my loan officer was new.
Who goes in to buy a car and thinks that when they go to purchase the car, when they get a loan, that their lender isn't protecting them somehow?
It's advice at the very least.
Correct.
But
absolutely.
For Hunter,
Yeah, been fighting it ever since.
it's too little, too late.
The wireless customer
So
you are
you
calling
can
is
see
not
that
available.
right there that the attorney at the end, he kind of went into it a little bit where he said, you know, who would think that the lender is doing anything that's, not protecting the buyer? Because if it's not protecting the buyer, it's not actually going to be protecting the lender, because they're not going to be able to make their money back from making a loan. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. I'm going to be looking for other stories that are similar. Again, this is something that actually did happen to me, but it was a better outcome than what happened to this individual. But you need to beware. And closing out on this video, I would say number one thing is to get a Carfax. Make sure the liens, make sure any issues, any recalls, how many hands it's went through, everything on the vehicle. That information is readily available. It's just that you don't expect to have to deal with that when you're getting a loan. You would just think that the bank was gonna, they're not gonna even finance it if they see that there's a lien on the vehicle. They would automatically contact the other bank and say, well, how much is owed on this vehicle, and we would send you your portion and then send the remaining portion to the dealer. All right, if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes a Difference, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, and cease and desist collection activities letter, not just a cease and desist communications. It's not that type of letter. It's a letter that is questioning them and telling them to cease all collection activities until they answer and get you the information that is on that document. If you find yourself in a situation similar to what this news report was over, you can send us an email or go to our website on live chat. Let us know what happened with you, and we can kind of give you some options on what avenues you might be able to take. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.